Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Javier with The Real Javier Navoa, a channel, a platform, and a modality where we apply the principles of philosophy, spirituality, mysticism, and business, and good planning to rapid lifestyle transformation. Today, going into the next step. The next step figuratively, because we know this isn't linear, ladies and gentlemen. We haven't finished with step 1. We haven't finished with step 2. We're going to be going back to it, and we're going to be, when we get into the nitty-gritty practical aspects of these, and I show you step by step how to implement these steps, we're going to be showing you how this really is an iterative process. It's a systemic process. It's not a linear process. And many steps can be taken at once. The steps can be taken in reverse order. The steps can be mixed up. And that's all going to be determined by your intuition and by your right brain. The right brain is going to be guiding the entire process. But the left brain also has a big role to play. And this video is going to be for you left brainers. But just keep in mind, the left brain is no longer in the driver's seat. The left brain is now a passenger. It is a soldier, ladies and gentlemen. A soldier that will accomplish the devices of the gestalt, of the whole, of what you could call the right brain, of a complete knowing of who you truly are and where you're coming from, and a complete strategic assessment of the game that you're playing. And it is a game, and when you know it's a game and you operate in the game, you operate at a lot higher level, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to be going through this with you. But first, before we start the video, I'd like to invite you, if you've been watching our channel for a while and have been on the fence, or if this is your first time watching the channel, I'd invite you to please hit the subscribe button below, because not only will you be joining an energetic community of master manifestors, and you'll be getting alerts for all of my weekly videos, of which I make many each week, regarding rapid lifestyle transformation. And remember, rapid lifestyle transformation is specifically here, and we're trying to really niche it down, getting you free from a job, a boss, or even a business that has you so captivated and wrapped up that you don't feel free within 6 months to a year. It's my promise to you, if you follow the techniques and if you get the lessons that we give in these videos, and you personalize them, and you practice them, and you implement them, you will be free from a job and a boss within 6 months to a year. In very extraordinary situations, in a year, but you can do it in 6 months with complete laser-like focus, ladies and gentlemen. You'll be joining that. But in addition to that, you will be helping us to get the word out, because the times are ripe, ladies and gentlemen, for this information. The times are ripe for people knowing who they are and getting into freedom so that they can have complete freedom and determination, self-determination over their entire lives. That's the only true freedom, ladies and gentlemen. Because let's face it, if you don't have economic freedom, if you don't have temporal freedom, freedom over your time and over your schedule, then there's no mental freedom, ladies and gentlemen, because you'll always be captive and so on and so forth. Now, that's in the game. Outside the game, you are always free, and you can be immediately free by knowing who you are. But that will translate to true economic freedom within the game. Follow me more for deeper understanding on this, ladies and gentlemen. So I will give you a moment to subscribe to the channel if you've not already. Hit the subscribe button below. Thank you so much for subscribing. Big video today, ladies and gentlemen, drawing off of David Allen's great work, Getting Things Done. I think I have it somewhere here, but I'm not going to really go get it. I don't need it because I have this all in my mind here. There is I believe, a 5 or 6 step process to the project planning, is what he calls it. But this can be any planning. And he goes into this. This could be from planning a dinner to planning your life, and you're planning your rapid lifestyle transformation, or what have you. And we've gone into the example of a house, because Lifestyle transformation really consists of 3 core elements. We're going to really chunk this down. We have in other videos. We want to chunk this down for you to demystify the complex, to simplify the complex. But it's going to be a simplicity on the other side of complexity after having understood and processed the complexity. I hope you understand me here just a little bit, but it's very simple. This is the framework, and again, don't get too left-brainy about it. Don't get too attached to the steps, because you will not be following these linearly, because inspiration comes in every step of the process. But the next quote-unquote step here is going to be where we start getting into the left brain. It's where the left brain is allowed a controlled searching, shall we say, or controlled implementing of its particular processes. And that is organizing. So in the last few videos we talked about brainstorming. And don't worry, we're going to have more videos about this. But it's a very intuitive process. It's a very right brain process, because you don't want to introduce your left brain there yet. Because as we talked about a few videos ago, where people really screw up the brainstorming process is they inhibit themselves. They try to edit themselves, and this is not the time for editing. They try to impose structure and a deadline when they have not gotten all of the intuitions and inspirations that are waiting for them on the inner out onto paper. And we encourage you to get everything out into paper. That's why GTD, in the weekly reviews, he always encourages at least semi-monthly, if not every week, to do a mind dump or a download, whereby you basically just sit down and you write down everything in your mind. You can refer to a list of areas of your life, like the home, the office, relationships, education, so on and so forth, but you just get everything out onto paper. And the very simple act of getting that out onto paper shows you that that is not you, and that that structure has an inherent organization, if only you would allow that organization to come. And the left brain has a part in that. And that is the part of the next step that we call organization. But organization is already happening while you're brainstorming. But the important thing while you're brainstorming is don't try to get it right. Don't try to ask yourself what would be a good idea on this. Ask yourself what would be a bad idea on this. What would be a mediocre idea on this. And just get all of the ideas out, as well as things that just naturally and spontaneously come to your mind that have nothing to do about it. Heck, you may be trying to fix a piece of machinery in an engineering problem, and a swimming pool and a beer might come to your mind. Write that down, because there's going to be something in that that you don't see now, but due to the quantum interconnectivity of everything, it's going to have some results somewhere down the line. You'll want to get that onto paper. So organizing is the next step, where we start to bring in our left brain. But remember, advisedly, and it's sort of like a relative who's really good at something, but you know he's crazy. Like, for example, your Uncle Frank, who's a good driver, but he forgets things. You want him to drive, but you also want to keep a very close eye on him. You want to keep a very close eye on your left brain when you do this. And whenever it goes into criticism, whenever it goes into non-belief, or, oh, this can't happen, and so on and so forth, it's a discussion worth listening to on the surface, but also it's something to keep a sharp eye on, and then remember who you are, and remembering that there's nothing impossible to you, and shut it up at that point. And you can always shut the left brain off by simply observing its processes. If you observe its process without giving an opinion, you just observe that thought, you will stop the momentum of thought, and then you can get back into a state of alpha, back into a state of presence. Then you can try this again. All of these techniques that we give will work in certain instances, but when you start getting negative momentum, they can work against you. And you'll know when you have negative momentum by the way it feels. Does it feel bad? You're thinking of this. Like, for example, if you're thinking about some sort of problem, oh, we have a problem here, But that excites you because you're saying, wow, I have a problem, and I know that there's a provision for me in this problem. I know that the problem has the solution within it, and it's going to be fun for me to solve this puzzle. Then go into that. But when you run into a problem and you say, oh my God, this is a showstopper, and I can never do this, it's impossible for me, shut off the left brain, because it's all about energy, ladies and gentlemen. That being said, this is the time for the left brain. And it's very simple. So what you do is, and you'll do this many times, like I said, it's not just one brainstorming session, then one organizing session, but it's a continual iterative process. So you'll start asking yourself, okay, what are some components of this? How can I structure this? Like, for example, if you're saying you want to buy a certain home, you already know the home that you want to buy, but you might have gotten down on paper, talked to a realtor, go look at the home, try to borrow the money or something, and we're not recommending to do this, we're just saying this is an example. You get all of those components, so then you ask yourself, okay, how can I write a narrative with these components? How can I write a plan with these components? And then you basically journal it and play around with it. And we're going to be showing you some techniques in future videos where you can actually take a brainstorm and play around with it. And then that's when you introduce the right brain. You'll be using the left brain to actually bring some structure to your brainstorming. And we're going to explain this more in other videos. But you'll want to bring your right brain to bear on how to weave a narrative out of it, or how to write a story out of it. That's where journaling is going to come in. So you'll want to look at your brainstorming, you'll want to journal. Okay, what are some stories that I can weave out of this? What are some narratives with the beginning, a middle, and an end that I can narrate out of this list? And then, while you do that, other questions will start coming up, like, how would I do this? Who would I need to talk to take these steps? What tools would I need in order to take these steps? What resources do I need that I don't have now, but that I need to get and I could get? Write all that down. And what you'll notice is, from the left brain organization of the brainstorm, you're circling back to a new brainstorm, but on another platform. The first brainstorm was from down here. Now you're basically doing a second draft, so to speak, of the rough draft of the first brainstorm. You'll see what I mean here. This can go on ad infinitum, but you'll be starting with the material that you got down here, so therefore you'll be up here. A few of these, ladies and gentlemen, probably 2 or 3 of these, and if not having the entire plan just revealed to you, you're going to be well on your way to having a strategic plan for what you want. I promise you, try this. So it's a question of bringing your left brain to bear to try to organize the categories that you brainstormed before, and it's a question of asking yourself, how can I tell a story with these components, these elements? How can I organize it in such a way that it has a coherent beginning, middle, and end? And then journal about that and ask yourself, okay, what do I need to acquire that I don't have now so that I can start weaving the tapestry together, so that I can start on the first step here and start making this story a reality. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a fun process. You're bringing together both your left and right brains. You're telling a story, and by doing that, you're doing a lot of the energetic work, and you're saving yourself a hell of a lot of steps that you would have to take were you just frantically trying to get it done. This is strategic planning, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk more about this tomorrow. We're going to talk about the next step, because we want to get you all the steps. Then we're going to do a video tying all of the steps together, and then I'm going to show you an actual situation that I haven't planned, by the way. I'm going to take a situation in my life that I haven't planned yet, and I'm really not clear on how to get there. I'm going to put it on the table, and I'm going to show you in an illustrative example how we get from knowing hardly anything about it to having a coherent strategic plan with a time frame, all the while getting into the state of that. That's coming up here in the next week to 2 weeks. All of these videos are leading to that crescendo. You won't want to miss that. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Remember, we're doing coaching calls. I can take you hand by hand and show you the steps of this. we can make a plan for your rapid lifestyle transformation, getting you free from a job and a boss within 6 months to a year. I will put my email in the description. Email me and we'll jump on a coaching call. Thank you for watching the videos. Thanks for sharing the videos, guys. Thank you for the questions. And please subscribe to the channel and keep watching the videos. You won't want to miss the videos that are coming out this week. Happy Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. By the time you watch this, it'll probably be Wednesday, and I will see you tomorrow. This is Javier from The Real Javier Novoa, signing off.